Is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right, everyone. We're about 3 minutes early, but go ahead and start. And if some people jump in a little bit late, well, then they should know to always be 5 minutes early. I don't know about you guys, but I am rarely ever late, and I'm always too early for everything. So at any rate, tonight, guys, we're just going to talk about some sales stuff. It's going to be a pretty basic call. It shouldn't go too long. I want to go over some of the mistakes people are making on the setup, and then just kind of review some other stuff. So let's go ahead and start with the setup. So what I've heard is that, and by the way, you guys, everyone should be nice to Alan. There's a lot of stuff that he is fixing on y'all's deals where it's, well, you guys just hadn't done it right, but he doesn't even bother, emailing you back. He just sort of fixes it. But I have seen some people say, oh, it's the wrong logo or whatever. So if you guys don't have a logo for the business, if you will write it in the notes right here, if you'll put no logo, then he'll know to not bother and going and getting the logo. Okay. And then the guys that set it up at night, they're not going to do any of that. They're just going to set up basic stuff. They're not taking it that extra step. But at any rate, if you don't have a logo for them, just put no logo. So he or Carol, somebody isn't bothering to go get the logo, because what I've found is I've seen people have complained about the logo that was uploaded, or somebody said something like they thought our system automatically went and got the logo. It doesn't. You got to input it in there. So hopefully you guys remember how to get the logo. You just kind of right click on something and then you choose from the menu. It says copy image URL. So it's pretty easy. If they don't have one on their website, you can always just Google their business name and hit images. Sometimes you'll find it in there. It's not a huge deal, but if you guys can make sure that you add that, that would be great. And then the other kind of problem that I'm seeing is in the company name. Some people are putting weird stuff there, like they're putting the Google Places URL here, or the Google Plus URL, just kind of weird stuff. So again, you guys, where it says company name, just put the company name. All right, while I'm on this, so Alan, was there anything else, or was there another problem? All right, yeah, other than that was his main complaint. And keep in mind, again, sometimes he's going and setting up extra stuff for you guys if you've missed something. So if it's wrong, well, then send it to support and somebody will correct it. But it was probably him just trying to, give you a solid. So, all right. So other than setup, you guys, our system's super easy. But before I start answering questions, the other thing I want to talk about real quick, because we get some questions about this, is about the actual, leaving a review from a mobile phone. So when the customer, your client, enters their customer's phone number in the portal, they receive the text. It's not going to work. They're not going to be able to leave a review on every mobile phone. I would think it's better than 80%, but there's just times when it's not going to work. And it's not our system. It's just how Google Plus actually works on a mobile phone. They make it where it's always 2 steps. So we've run into some really weird phones. And again, it's got to be a newer version of Android. I think 4.4 and newer. But just some phones aren't doing it. So we kind of researched that last week, and what we found is if somebody's phone is rooted, and I'm not your tech guy, but if they've rooted their phone, or if they've purchased it used and switched it from one carrier to the other carrier, sometimes that messes up the phone, and that does make some stuff not work. Now, why that would affect the search for Google, you got me. But it seems that it does. So at any rate, you guys just keep that in mind, that when you're selling it, you want to let them know that it's a 2-method approach here. what we want them to do is make it really, really easy. Just stick it in front of their face and say, hey, can you post a review right now from your mobile phone? And if they can't, no harm, no foul. They'll just go and do it from their email. So, don't need to worry about it. In fact, you need to tell your clients, just kind of let that part take care of itself. If your customer has a problem leaving it from their phone, just tell them not to worry about it, just to look for the email. Because as y'all have noticed, in the email links that go out, when you click on it, it opens exactly to where you're supposed to leave the review. So we're going to miss some people. Some people are going to fall through the cracks. Our program isn't 100%, but honestly, if you got a review from every one of your clients' customers, they'd only keep your program for 2 months and then say, hey, I'll buy it again next year when I need some more reviews. So it's all about those realistic expectations I keep talking about, guys. You want to tell your client, hey, we want to get you, we want to never get less than 3. Say it may happen. Again, I don't know how busy your business is, but we want to get at least 3, and probably average somewhere around 5. And oh yeah, Mr. Business Owner, you might get a lot more your first month, but again, that's usually how it happens, and it doesn't always average that. And some months you might not get one at all, again, depending on how your business is, or if you get a really slow time or whatever. But we're in this for the long haul. I mean, this is a product that they want to keep forever because it does what it says that it's going to do, because you gave them realistic expectations. Or you're adding it onto another product, which is what I found a lot of you guys are doing, which I think is great. And again, I kind of how I envisioned you guys would sell this, and I was thinking about how I would do it if I was selling it. I would use it as a door opener because it's not a concept sell. It's it's easy to explain. You either want Google reviews and you care what people say about you online, or you don't. The cool part too about reviews is that people are talking about it all the time. There's reputation.com. They're talking about it online. There's a whole bunch of people selling some sort of review program. Again, you guys are probably selling a very in-depth reputation marketing product as well, but sort of that first line attack is nice. But again, I can't stress enough, give realistic expectations. All right. Let's answer some questions and then talk about some sales stuff. And before I go further though, does anybody have any problems with setting up accounts? I mean, it seems like everyone's kind of gotten that down. If you guys are making a consistent problem, I'm sure that they've sent you something to let you know. But if you do get confused about something, just watch those videos. Don't overthink it. I mean, and by the way, you can't really break it. So don't be afraid to, if you forget to set something up, just send it to support and let them do it for you. That's what they're there for. So, put them to work. If you forgot to put in a logo or something, just make sure that you shut the door. Make sure that you send that to support, and again, they'll do it for you. So you don't need to log in, don't need to worry about it, don't need to edit it. And if you're going to do any of the follow-up surveys, again, you want to be very detailed in this area, and I stress to you, probably don't need it, and you definitely don't want to do it until they're a paying customer. All right, it's another level of complexity. All right, okay, let's see. Anyone else? Nothing about setup. I love that. Good. All right, can you talk about managing clients, how you charge them? Yeah, again, I'll tell you sort of what I hear from other people. How we sell our clients, we're only selling to rent to own, so ours are a little different. But I will tell you that no matter if they have 20 locations, and again, with our business, that's about the small. Well, there's a couple of like standalones. Typically, it's 20 or more. Whether they have 20 or whether they have 1,000 locations, they always want that free trial. So we still use it. So what we do is we, give them the trial, and, I sell it just like you guys have heard me a million times. I say, well, look, let's go ahead and get the work done. We'll do all the work. You try it out for your first month, and at the end of the month, Mr. Business Owner, I'm going to come out, and I'm going to bring an invoice for $97, and if you want to keep it, great, pay it. If you don't, no harm, no foul, and you get to keep all the Google reviews. So how you guys should do the billing is really up to you. But what I would do is I would first of all have them sign something. And I think we put an example of something that we had used for a convention we went on or something, but I would have them sign something that says, I understand that I am trying the, whatever you're calling the program, the iReview Builder program for the first month, a no-risk trial. I know that I do not need to pay anything unless I am satisfied at the end of the month and decide to keep it. Almost doesn't matter what it says. You just want to get their signature. And the reason for their signature is it's not legal. There's nothing, binding about it, but it's a mental thing. It's a mental thing that when they feel like, okay, I'm signing it, at that point of the signature, it's kind of a paradigm shift that goes into, okay, I've taken ownership of this thing, and if it works, I'm going to keep it. It just kind of plants that seed. So that's the first thing I would do. I don't know if I would go into any other agreement up front. And then when I came out and said, okay, you want to keep it, that's when I would have them sign. Our invoices look just like QuickBooks ones. And what we do is we give an invoice every month, and we send the invoice out, on whatever day. We actually don't do billing. We do billing twice a month for our clients. So we'll send the invoice, and then we charge them 2 days later. That's it. We don't call them and say, can we charge you? That's just part of our agreement up front. You understand you will be billed on a monthly basis, blah, blah, blah. And then we just auto bill everyone. Now, we do give them, a day or two just in case they want to change something. But you guys don't necessarily have to. You want to make it as easy as possible. And again, this is one of those things you want to be on autopilot, so they don't have to sit there and think about it every month. It's $97 or whatever you're selling it for. So as far as billing, that's how I would do it. I mean, I wouldn't make it really complicated, whatever you guys are normally doing. Now, I've had other people say, well, I'm going to put my people in a contract. I'm going to make them sign a 12-month agreement, or I'm going to do this or that. Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, I think that that's a good idea. However, we don't do it. And the thinking behind us is that, look, if somebody wants to cancel, they're going to cancel, all right? If they want to cancel, it means either they really can't afford the program or it's not living up to whatever expectations they made. So you let them, you can let them cancel. Because it's not like you're going to take them to court if they sign a 12-month agreement and then in 6 months decide to quit. But again, that's up to you. If your selling style can do that, if you can say, hey, normally we would sell this for $125, but I'll give it to you for $97 or $95 or whatever. If you'll sign a 12-month agreement, then, more power to you. It does kind of plant that seed in their head. Okay, well, now I know I'm keeping it for 12 months. But I don't know if that's a positive or a negative. I always find that when I tell people, hey, we don't sign anything, so that means that we have to live up every single month. You can cancel at any time. That's the only time I ever have to say it, because that kind of plants that seed in their head that, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not locked into anything. And then we just auto bill them. So again, they're not thinking about it anymore. But you still need to get their credit card. Yeah, you get their credit card information, at the end of the month. If you can get it up front, great. But it's just if you're going to get all their credit card information up front, you might as well, get them to pay something. I mean, that's the hard part. That's the commitment part. So, what we do, I don't even ask anybody for anything. We set up their deal. We get people trained. We get them going. And I never even mention a credit card until at the end of the month. Now, I don't know if that's the best way to do it. It is for us, but it's a little bit different structure. But if I were y'all, that's the way I would do it. You're going to get more sales. You're going to get more sales because people are more likely. And by the way, what it does is you're just sort of, I had an analogy for this that I used earlier, but it was terrible. I can't share it next company. But it's like you just kind of want to, you get the sale up front by doing the free trial. Now you're in the room with them. And then the next time you're talking to them, it's training. So by the end of a 30-day period when you're billing them, you're on a first name basis. They have found that you are not a liar because the product did what you said it would do. You've talked to them a few times. You're probably talking to them about other products at that time. And then you just hand them the invoice and go, here, can you please fill this out? Give me your credit card information. Or I say, if I'm doing it over the phone, I just send them the invoice. It says on the invoice, please fill out your credit card information here, and then there's a small blurb. You understand that you will be billed monthly, the amount of X amount, blah, blah, blah. So I know that's not what you're looking for, but you probably thought I had better insight into it, but I don't. I mean, that's how I would do it. PayPal, for our clients, we don't use PayPal, but it's also a different business structure. I don't think that these guys, if we used a PayPal account, they would, I'm not sure what they would think. So you can use, I don't know, some laws about keeping credit cards on file, keeping the credit card number. Is that what you're asking me? Probably. Yeah, I mean, well, what you do is you have a merchant account, and you can have them sign up through your merchant account, and it's just a reoccurring. All right? So you just put it in once, and it's reoccurring. You can, yeah, there is a law about if you're going to keep credit card on file, you need to actually have it in a room that has a locked filing cabinet, and there's some other caveats to that. But I'm not a lawyer, so I can't give you any more advice on that. What I would do is again, I would go for the easy way. I would get a merchant account somewhere. Square even works or whatever. I don't know if they do recurring, but set up a merchant account, and then you just have a portal, and you can either, get their credit card information at time of sale and enter it. That's the last time you ever need to enter it. Or you send them an invoice, and again, on the invoice, they can, has where they can type in their credit card information. Right? I mean, it's electronic invoice. It just looks like a regular invoice, but it's when they click on it, it has credit card portal. And they authorize that. It has the portal. I mean, there's a bunch of them out there that are really, really cheap. But yeah, that's the way I would do it. I don't know though. If you're selling small businesses, it's probably fine to use PayPal. I wouldn't. I think I would use it first and just see if people act weird about it. PayPal is, everyone uses PayPal for everything these days. So whereas 5 years ago, I would tell you if you use PayPal, they're going to think you're a joke if you're talking to a small business because it makes you look like, you can't get a merchant account or something. But I think that's probably different now. So, for the regular small business owners, you're probably fine with a PayPal account. If you want to be extra sure and just kind of build your image a little bit more, you might want to get a merchant account. Intuit is another place where you can get a merchant account. Very, very simple. And then again, that with the Intuit account, it's connected to QuickBooks. So it makes it really, really easy. But by the way, Intuit is I don't think you need to show financials or whatever. They're kind of like Square or whatever that other one's called. It's like PayPal for lack of a better explanation. They're all really, really simple to get. So, I find that a lot of resellers or just a lot of salespeople, they use PayPal because they're scared to use anything else. They don't know how to get another account, and they think that they're going to be put through the ringer. And it's not merchant accounts aren't like that anymore. It's not like it was, 10 or 20 years ago, where it was all if you had a business that was successful, it was almost a full-time job with us, just somebody who kept on top of merchant accounts and getting them, increasing limits and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, did I answer that question? Try Intuit is the other one you want to try. If you want to go to one and you don't want to use PayPal, maybe that's the one I suggest. So they have a recurring, and also with Intuit, you can take checks. So somebody wants to pay by check. I've got a client that he's like 100 years old, So he still writes checks to everything. And he mails them, by the way. But we said, well, we just can't do it that way. So at least we got them to fax us their check every month. And with the faxed check, we can do it, electronic check. Just enter the check information, enter the credit card number, and then it funds within a couple of days, just 2 days, 3 days. Anything else about billing? You guys, it depends on, there's on different sales, I would say this a different way, because I don't want to make it sound like, hey, you really just want to get a weak sale, because you don't. You want to get as much information up front as you can. So if you're really locking it up and you want to sell it up front, you want to make, or even give away a free trial, but you want to make sure that you've got their credit card information and you're a strong salesperson and you can get across all those things, then yeah, that probably is the best way to go. It's just my sales style is a little bit more laid back. I kind of talk to them like, hey, we're just happen to be two people that are both need to make a living. And, I want to do right by you, and I'm sure you'll do right by me. And, if you'll trust me 1%, I'll earn the rest, that kind of thing. So, and by the way, it just makes my life easier. You don't have to, when you're talking to people, you don't really need to stress the hard close, right? And you got to kind of do a hard close. Give me your credit card information up front. They're giving you all this stuff, and you haven't given them anything. You've given them nothing. So they're sitting there giving you all this, which also means that now they're going to scrutinize your work a lot more, because now you've got their credit card information. You're already in their pocket, whether you charge them or not. Whereas if you have the other approach, it's a lot more laid back. It's a lot more comfortable. The whole sort of neuro-linguistic programming relationship you've had with this person has all been like positive sort of anchor things. For those of you who are into that stuff, you've been, it's all a positive experience. There has been no sort of, uncomfortable situation. You're basically saying, here's a product. I'm going to prove it to you that it works. Just promise me that you'll pay for it if it does. All right, anything else? More questions? And if not, I'm going to get into a sales technique, and then we'll call it a night. It's not going to be a really long call. All right, you guys, we've had something kind of interesting. So one of our resellers, and I mentioned this last week, but they did it again this week. And again, they're doing it on a really small scale, but I would highly suggest it to you guys. Is really what we're looking for is if you guys just take this and go build your own team. So we're also trying to help. We've had some bunch of people I've talked to called up and said, well, we kind of need this, or can you help us with this, or whatever. And we're willing to do that, especially if you're trying to build a team. Well, we can kind of go outside the box here. But what they are doing is they are doing what's called a fronter and a closer approach, which is it's a telemarketing approach. But the way they have it on paper right now is that, it's basically two resellers that work together, and one guy's like, look, I'll front your leads and you front my leads. And then they switch them to close. And the front approach is like very weak sale. So it's basically like generating a really strong lead. But if you're on a dialer, which you can get from, one of these companies online, so it'll dial for you automatically. I promise you that makes a huge difference. But even if you're hand dialing, you should be able to get one an hour. But the approach is kind of this. It's kind of like, hi, I'm calling. And by the way, you want to use like Lead Kahuna or use, I know there's another one out there. Use something. So you kind of do your homework first. So you're calling people where they have a bad review. And it's, hi, Bob, I'm calling you about your negative review on Google from Linda. You aware of that? Hey, listen, I know that's real pain in the butt, but you can't get rid of those things. But we have a system that can bury it with positive reviews. I'm not calling to sell you a program. We'll do it at no cost for the first month, so you can try it out. All I ask is that we show you how easy it is and that you can build Google reviews on autopilot. At the end of the month, if you decide to keep it, it's $97. But to get you started, I'll do all the work, and all I need from you today is a yes. Sound good? Is that a yes? And I'm kind of paraphrasing, or I'm big time paraphrasing, but that's basically it. You got to talk to them about their negative reviews and say, I'm sure, maybe even, I'm sure you get a million calls a day of people selling some kind of reputation marketing or blah, blah, blah for, thousands and thousands of dollars. Yeah, we've got, if you're selling that, and say, we've got that too, but this one program can take care of that negative review for you. I'm not calling to sell you. You don't need to pay anything. I don't need a credit card number today. All I need is a yes from you. We'll get it set up and we'll show you how it works. At the end of the month, if you decide to keep it, it's $97. But don't worry about that. You can decide then. Sound good? Yes. So I know what you're thinking now is, well, you haven't gotten anything from them. Well, you've gotten their name. You know that they're talking about leads. You've got to be a good enough salesperson to kind of know in their voice if they're like, well, yeah, because that's usually what you'll get them to. Because they'll first ask you some questions. There'll be some rebuttals. But they'll get to a point where they're like, well, so wait, it's completely free? Say, yeah, it's free for a month. But if you decide to keep it, if I show you how awesome it is, I know that you're going to keep it. That's why we're allowing you to give it to you free. But what you do with that lead, right, because you've just generated a really weak lead. All you've got is their address and all that kind of stuff. Now you give that lead to your partner. Or maybe you're hiring a telemarketer, which is not a bad idea either. But yeah, you give it to your partner, he gives you his leads, and you call them the next day. You say, hi, I'm your Google Review Manager calling you about the program that you registered for yesterday for the no-risk free trial. What the person told you yesterday is true. It's absolutely free. We don't need a credit card or anything. But I do need to just get a couple of information or get a little bit of information from you real quick. Do you have about 3 minutes, or should I call you back at a better time? Right, you guys know that sales technique, right? Never say, do you have got a couple minutes? Because if the answer is no, there's nowhere you can go with that. So it's always, should I do this, or do you want to do this? Can I do this, or do you want to do this? So say, hey, do you have about 3 minutes? That's all it's going to take, or should I call you back at a better time? Anyway, so when you eventually get them on the phone, you just go through the program, but you make it sound child simple, which it is. So that means no long, in-depth, long conversations about, all this other customization. It's, hey, we're going to bury that review for you. We're going to bury that review. I got to set it up for you. Now, really, we do all the work. All we'll need from you is a little desktop portal where you'll just ask your customer, you'll enter their cell phone number and hit send. That's it. So if you can invest that additional 3 seconds, we'll do the rest of the work for you. And then you're going to get a little pullback from there. You're going to get a little, wait, what are you talking about, portal? Wait, I don't know. It sounds like a lot of work. So I promise you, it takes about additional 3 seconds per customer. By the way, Mr. Business Owner, I'll set it up for you. I'll just send it to you and I'll walk you through it at that time. If you want to use it, great. If you don't, you won't hurt my feelings. Right? Because it's not going to go, people aren't just going to go, yes, 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 all the way through. You're going to get pullback, but that's how you know you have a sale. If they don't do that, I promise you, you don't have a sale. You either have somebody who is not paying attention to you, or somebody that just hates to say no, but they're never going to follow through. So that's how it works. In that second call, you're selling them. You're closing them. You're getting them to where you're going to set up their account. Now you're going to set up their account, which guys know it takes a few minutes. Then you call them back up. Now it's their third touch. So now another wall is down. They're a little bit more open. Say, okay, well, let me show you how the portal works. Did you get the email I sent you? Great. Can you just click on that link? Get them to click on the portal link. When they click on the portal link, it's going to open the portal, and you say, that's it. Mr. Business Owner, all I need from you is to ask your customers for their cell phone number. And again, you guys are calling businesses where these people already have it. I mean, auto repair, places like that, it's not unusual to get the customer's phone number. You need it. You need it for the records. So all you need to do is enter your customer's cell phone number here and hit send. It's that easy. We do everything else. And then you can go through a little training, again, all depending on if they go, okay, that sounds easy enough. That's what you're looking for. That sounds easy enough. So what's your closing ratio? Good question, Mercer. Well, it's not that high. You're going to close somewhere around, because you're going to have about 20% that falls off when you call them. Yeah, I don't know what they're talking about. I don't want this thing. But then you're going to close about 60 to 70% of the rest of them. So however you work the numbers, it's still pretty good, right? Because the first step isn't hard. You should be able to get one an hour if you are really dialing, if you're really working, if you're not staring at the phone and kind of like, oh God, I don't want to make this next call. Oh man, let me drink some more coffee, then I'll dial the phone. You want to, if you're going to do it, you got to take the extra step and either get a little dialer, like, they're all over online. It would be called an automatic dialer or hosted PBX dialer or something like that. Or you just want to really commit. Say, look, I'm going to put a phone in front of me, not a cell phone. Get like a desk, a landline phone where you can actually punch the numbers and you can do it quickly. Because then it becomes more of a machine thing. It's how many times can you dial the phone? Not how many people can you talk to, not how many people can you sell. You don't need to worry about that. If you commit, I promise I am going to make 200 dials. Just going to dial the phone 200 times. Then everything else kind of takes care of itself. But, that's where you start. I promise when they answer, you're not going to hang up on them. Well, I don't promise that, but I'm assuming you won't. So, again, it's working. Now, is it a guaranteed thing? I don't know. I'll tell you in 3 weeks. But they're making sales, and it makes a whole lot of sense to me. And it's 2 comfortable calls. The first call is real simple. It's just kind of, hey, we're going to give it to you free. Don't need anything. Broke down wall number 1. Second call is, hey, yeah, he's right. It is free. We're going to do all the work for you. By the way, I want to verify this information, and all you need is a portal. Broke down wall number 2. Call number 3 is, hey, great, click on this link and let me show you what it is. Broken another wall come tumbling down. Now you've talked to the person 3 or 4 times and you have yet to have a very uncomfortable I commit kind of conversation. And then you just write it out. You want to provide pretty good customer service to these people, make sure that they're going to use it. You want to check in with them maybe, once in a 10-day period. And then maybe you can even call them after 2 weeks and say, hey, I see the program's working great for you. You already got 1, 2, 3, whatever reviews. Listen, instead of $97, if you'll sign up today, we can discount it down to $87 or $77. If you need to. Again, if there's a cash flow issue or if you're hiring a telemarketer, you might have to do something like that. All right. Any questions? Does that sound good to anybody, or is people like, I don't know if I could do that? The hard part is finding somebody to make the calls, because I know that, those aren't the calls typical salespeople want to make, that cold call. But if you can make a deal with a friend and go, look, I'll call for you if you can call for me, or if you can hire somebody. I don't know if I would hire overseas people. I know you can do it really cheap. I know of places where you can hire somebody for $300 a month for like a crazy amount. I forget how many hours a week that was. But they have a thick accent. So would it still work? I think it could. But just a different dynamic. I don't know. You're going to need to try it. Let's see here. For the trial accounts for my clients, can I create it at any time in each and every time and cancel it if they decide not to keep it? Yeah. It's ongoing. So the only deals that you got to pay every month, it's just those first 2 that we say, hey, just if you guys will invest on those first 2 and keep those, we'll be flexible with you with all the other ones. And we are. I mean, we've got some people that have made a bunch of sales, and then either people didn't keep it, or more likely their customer did not pay them. So then you guys just need to let us know, and we will alter that for you. It's all about communication, though, guys, because you can, and I don't know how to do it. You got the wrong person on here, Alan, and he's not on. But there's a way to somehow back here retire a credit. I don't even see where it is. Anyway, there's a way to retire a credit, and then it credits back to your account, and then you're not charged for it. But if you get confused and you don't know how to do it, no sweat. Just send it to support and say, hey, I bought 50 licenses and I only need 30 of them. Or I bought 50 and one of my clients can't pay or whatever, communicate with us and we'll make sure that we're not billing you for any license that you're not actually getting paid for. Right? Fair enough. I mean, it's an accounting nightmare, but I think in the long haul, that's kind of what you got to do. And we want to work with you, and we want you guys to be successful. And so far, I mean, our stick rate on these sales is pretty good. I mean, you can get past a month, they typically keep it. So, we'll do what we got to do. Was that your question, by the way? Did I kind of answer that? So I do get that every once in a while. People are like, well, do I just pay, $15 once for a license and I never have to pay it ever again? It's every month because it's also including everything. It's a monthly recurring thing. It covers 4,000 techs every single month. It's not just sort of a one-time shot. If we didn't have those costs, we could probably lower it, but that kind of defeats the purpose of the program. Anything else? Any other questions? Hey, do you guys like my sales idea, or is everyone kind of like, I don't know? It's working. And think about, expand from there. Get creative. The people that have been the most successful so far are, well, there's one person it came in with a mess of clients, so that helped. But the people that are really just running with it, that are selling 100 or more sales, they're all doing something like that. They're all being creative, and they're using that free trial. They're like figuring out how can I use this free trial to get creative, or to kind of leverage my sweat equity, right? Or leverage somebody else's sweat equity. So you got to just get creative. The telemarketing thing works. I mean, I'm looking forward to somebody trying to pay a foreign company and just trying it out. I mean, even if they only got you one lead per 2 hours per seat, the numbers still work out really well if you're only paying $300 per month per person, or $400 or whatever. So it would be an interesting dynamic to try that. And like I said, we've got a couple of people that are doing it and it works, and there's plenty of room for everyone. I always get that question too, like somebody's finds something that works and they're like, well, you got all these other people. First of all, we don't have that many people. So that's good. And second of all, the United States is big. I mean, I've sold products where there was literally 1,000 other people selling it and we never run into each other. Same with you guys. You're already doing stuff where you don't run into people very often. Anything else? Anything? All right. Does anybody else have any other questions at all about anything? Average rainfall in the Amazon basin? Anything else? No? Okay, well, guys, as always, everyone seems to be doing fine. And we had a couple of people this week, and I hope if any of them, those people are on the phone, who they emailed us and they didn't get a response back, like in a few days. If that ever happens, pick up the phone, call. It's the 844-707-9779, because there's a problem. Everyone responds within hours typically. So, I mean, at the long haul, it's, 6 hours or more, but typically it's going to be pretty fast. So if it happens where you're not getting a response, it's because we didn't receive your email, or you didn't receive ours, which I've seen happen too. So make sure you whitelist that support at iReviewBuilder. Okay, so if you haven't gotten anything from us, which isn't the case, or you wouldn't be on this call probably. All right, and again, sales stuff, I'm always interested to talk to you guys. If you want to get creative, I'm open to, try anything that works. If it makes sense. I mean, the key is that the product is sold at the right price, and you give realistic expectations, and then get creative with that free month trial. And communicate with us. So if you've got, again, or, if something happens and you can't cover all your licenses, you just got to communicate with somebody, and they can, we'll work with you on our end. So, all right, anything else? Anyone? Bueller? No. All right, guys. Well, we're going to make it short tonight, but I hope you guys try that calling thing. Also, if you guys have something else that's working, and it's kind of, you feel like sharing it with the group, we sure do appreciate it. And just remember to always let us know if we can help. All right, guys. You guys have a good night.